Alright everyone, Supreme Kami over here, and today we'll be doing the alteration review for the S attribute Kshatriya over here. So in terms of this overall unit, I gotta say I'm pretty much satisfied with what it's actually doing. The overall stat is quite phenomenal for both your shot department and in terms of the melee defense. This is definitely something we can be using in a 1 week straight arena defense build because of how much of a melee defense we're getting off of this unit. I say this is going to be a best candidate because in terms of what you want to do in that arena specifically, you want to take on a shooting based unit, and then since you're facing off against, let's say presumably a lot of like melee builds, so you can definitely break through their weak shot defense for example. So that is definitely going to be an easy way to get some ridiculously high score for say. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the Kshatriya, and let's kind of get started. So we only have 4 parts, so this alteration review shouldn't take that long, so let's kind of get started. So in terms of the overall head, these are going to be the stat that is presented to us over here. You guys can just kind of see right off the bat that the melee defense is already higher than your shot defense, so not even sure why they made it this way, but this is what we have. So in terms of like what kind of word tag we're looking at, so you can actually, so upon having the P attribute Kshatriya, you'll be able to access the other attribute as well. So keep that in mind, you have to have it first before you access it. So that was definitely something I forgot to mention to you guys. So if you guys currently do not have the P attribute and you want to access the P attribute or the P attributes word tag, you will not be able to do that. So that is definitely something as a pointer right there. I believe the actual word tag is not too much of a difference if I recall, so that is that. But in terms of overall portrait, that is what we're looking at. So we are finally getting some EXQ cooldown reduced on the head part, so this is definitely something we had not had before. So this is definitely something, you know, pretty good to have in a way. So if you guys are still planning to do like a good cooldown reduction type build, I think nowadays we have just so many options in a way. I think going for a standard part is still one of the easiest way in terms of getting your portrait at least up to 20%, because you know, like looking at these Sokai parts, you're gonna have to take a lot of effort in order to get them to, let's say, a good amount of like reduction. So at most you want to get a single part to at least 20, so you will at cap for example, you need at least what 20, or no, you need 5 parts of 20 for example. So that's pretty much what you want to be doing. If you're talking about having 10%, no, that's not really gonna cut it. So that's why I feel like going for a standard part is definitely good. But you know, this one is just having the head start for no pun intended, but this one is definitely having the head start by having this on the head part right there. So it's definitely new. So you also do get an EXQ power boosting, so that is gonna work great if you are planning to use this on a let's say you don't want to use this on your shot cooldown reduction build. You can definitely take this on and put it on your melee for your S attribute, and you'll be pretty much good because you do have high firepower. So presumably you can still get some great, you know, stat sticking or whatever, however you want to sub slot for example, or put this on your main and then have something sub slot. So that is good. If you guys do have the head part, that is definitely something I would recommend to kind of alterate, just because of what it's actually providing is actually solid. In terms of the head, we are currently placed in the top 3, so that's actually quite surprised. Like, I wasn't expecting the Kshatriya to come at this high, but here we are. And keep that in mind, this is a speed attribute, so this is definitely something we have been wanting for. Because if you guys would take a look at the overall list, like the only S attribute shooting part we have is what is it, the build project Senenju. So kind of no, so yeah, definitely not gonna be good in that respect right there. So moving on to the torso, and the torso gonna be another big shocker for you guys as well. You guys can see that the melee defense is extremely high. That is definitely something to kind of take notes with there. But the melee attack is definitely not on par at all. So if you are planning to use this in, let's say, melee defense mode arena, you gotta be sure that you would take a lot of like downfall in terms of your raw melee attacks. So but in terms of your melee defense, it's definitely up there. 10k, like, are you kidding me? 10k melee defense, like this is looking very good. Like even your shot defense is not even up there at all. So in terms of this EX skill, we have a what? We have a chest mega particle cannon, or yeah, cannon plus an IFU. So you're granted with a beam resistance up to you only by 59%. So I mean, like, beam resistance up is not even that good. So kind of like, okay, just not good at all. So I'm pretty sure this EXQ is just gonna hit regularly compared to some of your other beam like EX skill like that. So I don't expect too much of a great power coming out of this one, I gotta say, because like most people will probably have this at like base level 1, so you're going to be looking at a B plus split right there. So if this was like an attack race, that would be better, but since this is only going to be like a beam resistant up, so not going to be too helpful long run per se. But in terms of overall torso, in terms of stat sticking per se, we're like up here, like that's actually pretty good. Like it's good to see that newer parts is actually up here and not down here. So that means in terms of the light expectancy, they should be good for like a long time. Do keep that in mind. This is actually going to be perfect for your melee defense arena, because this one is already coming in with Xeon type, and Xeon type is definitely one of those word tags you want to have active in order to get the maximum melee defense up, because like you get a whopping 10% defense up when you have that active. So that's why this is going to be a solid option for that. So not bad, definitely not bad. But in terms of the stat sticking, it's up there definitely. I think it's definitely helped it out with having that extremely high raw shot attack. The shot defense is definitely not making that happen. It's definitely the raw melee or the raw shot attack that is doing all the job right there. Definitely gonna be good. Having the high firepower Xeon type. Xeon may be a hindrance if you're purely using it for shot base specifically, for example. So that is definitely something you guys may have to sub away, or trying to get the other attributes or war tag if possible, for example. But other than that, this torso is definitely going to be a solid option if you talk about a specific niche per se. But other than that, let's move on to the arm now. So the arm is going to be another one of those arm plus a shield, so that's why I made another worksheet right here. So this is going to be simply going to be the shield. I should have added a shield right there. I'll add it later. So this is going to be your arm plus shield. So in terms of the overall stat, right now we are looking pretty good for your shot attacks. So EX skill wise, is not going to be anything too spectacular. It's just going to be your regular funnel. This one I believe should be the hardest hitting funnel type, because like in terms of how many funnels are actually coming out of Kshatriya, there's a lot. So I am expecting a lot of hit rate from the CX right here, so gonna be pretty good. So in terms of base level 1, we are looking at an A pierce and B plus power already, so that is looking fantastic already, so not bad. We didn't get any new EX skills, so that was definitely quite the bummer, I gotta say. Like so far in terms of the other new attribute that we have been getting, like they always pack in with like a new EX skill, so not sure why they're not doing that. Like in terms of Kshatriya, I'm pretty sure it had a lot of good airtime, or like on air already, so I'm not sure why they couldn't just kind of get something from the anime and just kind of pack it in here. So that part did not make sense to me. So but in terms of the overall stat, you guys can definitely see again, you know, the melee defense is definitely up there. Your shot defense is not even up there at all. So like, oh, okay. Word wise of high firepower and ace exclusive, so definitely meant to be a shooting part specifically. But you know, for whatever reason, the stat is like not leaning towards that. So okay. All right. So last but not least, we have the leg part over here. So the leg. You know, speaking of the leg part, we are actually gonna jump straight into the portrait first, because look what we have again. We have a double 40% shooting trait over here. So guess what? Just who just received that earlier this week? We have ourselves the tech attribute Quibbly over here. So this one I think is gonna be a little bit better in terms of one of the condition. So this one, in terms of the Kshatriya, wants you to be using it on a long shooter job, while in terms of the tech type Quibbly, it doesn't really want you to be using it on any specific license, for example job licenses, but instead it wants you to be using a commander tag right there. So I mean, commander is definitely a stable word tag to be using, so I'm not too not really like hammering down right there. But in terms of this one, let's say some of your portrait is wanting you to use mid-range, so this one you just basically have to give this one up. So but in terms of this overall torso, this leg right here, did I say torso? But no, this leg over here currently has one of the higher stats in terms of your shot plus your 40% change, so that's actually pretty good. Word tag wise, is definitely going to be supporting that ace exclusive and high firepower, so that is definitely top choice right now. In terms of sub slot, for example, you definitely want to be using some big scale. So my suggestion is going to be using the big scale tag attribute freedom legs, because that one has literally the same war tag as this one. So that is going to be your perfect combo right there. So overall, I think what the Kshatriya is doing is actually quite fantastic. It got stats, it got gimmick stuff, it definitely cover you in melee defense mode on melee defense arena, so that is definitely going to be a top choice right there. That's going to be pretty much it in terms of the Kshatriya repair, or the Kshatriya review over here. Definitely a not bad option. So you guys do have a few parts like the leg, the head, for example. They're definitely going to be a no-brainer for all three for say. But in terms of this one over here, maybe the torso can be a good choice for stats taking purposes, but in terms of arm, because it is going to be an arm plus integrated shield, so I don't usually recommend those because they don't really carry out the best in terms of your sub-slot capability. So that's why the armor is definitely going to be something you can skip. Moving on down, let me quickly go over this week's fragment and just gonna see what is actually good. So I have already taken a look already, and I feel like, if you spot anything that has some good power boosting, for example like the Raven head over here, boosting some power boosting by 30% when you have it at max. So this one does lock you down to a long shooter job right there, but you can definitely take a look at some other ones already, and they pretty much have the same thing. Like piercing, definitely not, but if you see anything that is actually power boosting, for example, those are definitely going to be a good pickup for sure. So in terms of the Raven specifically, maybe the head and then the beam rifle or the beam saber, because this one does have a EX power boosting as well, and then this one as well, right? So basically what you guys want to be looking out for is definitely something that is going to give you like a percentage power boosting, shooting power boosting, melee power boosting, EX skill power boosting, and then those are probably going to be some good parts if you pick it up. In terms of the State 2 over here, we have a cooldown right there. So a cooldown is definitely a sneaky good option if you guys are planning to do like a pretty good, free to play standard initial, just EX skill reduce right there. So that's definitely not bad right there. I believe there are some other power boosting as well, shooting power boosting right there. So that's gonna be pretty much it. I'm just gonna be covering some of these over here. This one just has a lot of EX skills, so I'm not gonna talk about those right there. Shooting power again, but the war tag on this one, what are we looking at? Close combat and high firepower, huh? So probably not your best pickup. For example, this one definitely not. What about the head part? I believe it's awakening. So melee boosted by 40%, and then you're getting NT flinch basically. So okay, definitely not too bad, right? Some other ones you just kind of go over for, say, reduce your opponent melee power right there. Okay. So we definitely do have a pretty good cluster of parts to be picking. So my recommendation is definitely going to be those percentage, power boosting or EX power boosting, or whatever boosting you're looking at. I think those are definitely going to be a solid choice for sure. So with that being said, that is going to be it. Just a quick alteration review and plus the what you kind of pick for a fragment over here. So with that being said, that is going to be pretty much it, and I'll catch you guys all on the next one.